discrimination against Jesse Lee Peterson. Nice. What's up, guys? I am James Hake. This is the Hake Report, and it's not really nice. I was kidding. But I am streaming live. It's 9:01 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time here in the United States in Los Angeles. Shout out to the JLP crew. They're scrambling. Did you guys notice? You guys may not have heard, but Jesse Lee Peterson's stream on YouTube got shut down for some reason. Maybe it was a copyright thing, because sometimes it gets blocked when you use copyrighted stuff, and you never know with Nick. Or maybe somebody flagged it for so-called imaginary hate speech, which is, of course, a false accusation. So I'm sure YouTube will get it right? They treat everybody well, right? And then at the end, there was a computer malfunction. So you missed the beautiful ending song of the stand-up remix. But you can get the stand-up remix on iTunes, also known as Apple Music now. It's known as Apple Music now, or Spotify, or wherever. You can go to jesseleepeterson.com/remixes. And on that page is also links to a compilation album that has my songs, the Hake Report. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, get it. Very beautiful. That has Joel Friday here. It has Trevor Wesley, and it has Big Bump. And, of course, Jeff Spann, the original singer. And, by the way, guys, I want to play a clip 11 right off the bat before my intro thing. So, it's, I don't know if I mentioned that it is July 22nd, Wednesday, and I will be taking your calls. Some of you are already on hold. 888-775-3773. But Nick is like, I did not. He did not use copyrighted content. Much less did we do so-called hate speech, which doesn't exist, and nothing Jesse Lee Peterson says is hateful. Other people can say the same things out of a spirit of hate, but words are not hateful. Words are used, and some with hatred and some with love. Right? Anyways, let's get on with quit kissing up to Facebook, Hake. You mean YouTube, Skip? Or maybe he means Facebook. Anyways, guys, what's up, TR, over on Facebook? I'm on YouTube, Facebook, DLive, Periscope, Mixer, Twitch. Yes, even Twitch. And, of course, Streamlabs. Thank you, guys, for streaming my show. And on jesseleepeterson.com/show, if you click on the audio, I think I'm streaming live audio on Jesse Lee Peterson's platform. Thank you, Jesse. Anyways, let's get on with this show.
As the people were coming out of the funeral home, then the shots rang out like they were literally waiting
on them to come out. And I saw body after bodies on the ground. What's really going on? It's a war out here.
Arnita Jeter says she heard the shots and then saw the bodies spilling from Rhodes funeral services on 79th near Carpenter.
Why are they shooting like this? This is ridiculous. It's enough is enough.
It was more women than men.
Family rushed to the funeral home after learning loved ones were shot.
Someone we know was at a service, someone called and told us that they were hurt.
This woman's white jeans covered in blood. She doesn't know whose. She says she was inside the funeral home paying her respects.
You guys were there for a funeral, correct?
Yes.
For somebody who got shot?
Yes.
There was one guy, he was stretched out, and he looked at deceased.
So police tell us they found at least 60 shell casings at the scene. It happened right outside Rhodes Funeral Home on 79th and Carpenter in the city's Auburn-Gresham neighborhood. It was just before 6:30 last night when police say a black vehicle heading west on 79th started firing toward a group outside. That group attending the funeral of another man who died from gun violence. And it's likely police knew something was up because they had a police car stationed outside that funeral home as a precaution. Now, police say the group that was fired upon returned fire, hitting that black vehicle. Police also tell us that vehicle hit a parked car. Then the 4 people inside bailed and ran from the scene. Now, police in the end say that there were 15 shooting victims taken to 5 different hospitals, 5 now in serious condition. The youngest victim, a 21-year-old woman. Mayor Lightfoot has been taking heat from residents and President Trump about this summer's worsening gun violence. And yesterday she announced federal agents will be coming in after all, after initially refusing the help. Now, we talked to some residents who saw the aftermath of this shooting, and they think federal help is a good idea.
I give it a thumbs up because of the violence that's continuing day in and day out, weekend, little children, and it's just unnatural that all this violence, like we're literally in a war zone.
It's really sad in these communities. Because the children can come out and play. We can't walk to the store. We can't go to the laundromat. We can't go attend a funeral. Who can't attend a funeral? Good gracious.
So Mayor Lightfoot tweeting late last night, too many guns are on our streets and in the hands of people who should never possess them. These individuals will be held accountable.
I spoke at length with the founder of Mothers Against Senseless Killing. It's a community organization very active in the Englewood community. She said that she, as recently as this morning, spoke with CPD. She has a direct line with police, open communication. She says that she told CPD staff this morning that this funeral tonight, had the potential for violence. She asked for a special detail. She says that she has been talking about this for several days on her own social media, again, with CPD staff, and she says not enough was done to keep this safe.
Crazy. It's too hot. It's too hot.
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La, la, la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La, la, la.
Hey, guys!
Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La, la, la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La, la, la.
So, what you just heard was interesting information about another mass shooting, apparently by blacks, in Chicago. At least it was multiple perpetrators, not one, right? When it's white people doing a mass shooting, it's just one perpetrator or something. I don't know. But welcome, everybody. I'm going to be taking your calls. And it is a mess out there, and President Trump has been wanting to clamp down on the crime for a long time. But the local fake government do not want that to happen. You know, Lori Lightfoot. Somebody called her Leslie Lightfoot in Jesse Lee Peterson's chat. You know, and she says, oh, gun violence, too many guns on the streets, getting in the hands of the wrong person. Meanwhile, she's tweeting this out. And she has a picture of herself with a mask on, a white mask, looking all goofy. At least you don't have to. Well, I don't know. She's trying to present a good. She's trying to be a good example, even though she's brazenly, shamelessly lesbian, which is not a good example. And she's promoting hatred towards whites by tweeting out, "Karen, watch your mouth," to President Trump's press secretary when she says that she's derelict in her duties and Chicago is a war zone or whatever. And she's all, Karen, watch your mouth. And meanwhile, this stuff is happening. And Trump has wanted to send in the National Guard and other fake leaders, such as this guy that some people respect for some odd reason, Louis Farrakhan, pretends that Trump sending in the National Guard or talking about sending in the National Guard to help deal with the Chicago crime, out-of-control crime, would be a race war? Excuse me. He's trying to prevent killing of black people by black people. It's not a race war. But he wants to take it like that because he does not care about the blacks being killed by the blacks. He doesn't even care about the blacks being killed by the whites. He only likes that when that happens so that he can exploit it, just like the mainstream media that he hates and they hate him. Hateful, evil people fighting amongst each other, right? It's so disgusting. It's so out of control. I was reading in Hake News on the Jesse Lee Peterson show in the second hour today, towards the end of the second hour, that children, they talk about, Trayvon Martin was just a child. The 17-year-old, 6-foot-something guy who was grounding and pounding and threatening George Zimmerman's life, allegedly, according to George Zimmerman. And he didn't look like he was lying. and calling Tamir Rice a child. Tamir Rice was a 12-year-old, but 12-year-olds, you know, isn't that around the time you're considered an adult amongst more mature cultures? Right? Or right around there, you're a young man. And he looked like he was about 21. He was 6 foot something, almost, was he 200 pounds? Over 200 pounds or close to it? People thought, I mean, the cops who shot him, I think they thought that he was like 21 years old. Marcus Jones says, Hake, you're white, and your white brothers and sisters, I don't know about my brothers and sisters being addicted, he says, are disproportionately addicted to opioids and offing themselves like crazy. They need you to spread awareness. Thank you, Marcus Jones, for your love for white people. Yes, we do need to stop the other whites. I don't know about my brothers. I think that they're not on opioids. Need to get me off of monsters. Dare to keep cops off donuts. Dare to keep Hake off monsters and rock stars. But they pretend like these people are children. 10-year-old kid, 10-year-old so-called child, allegedly threatening teacher ladies in Chicago on the South Side. Beautiful area in South Side, supposedly. Quiet. I don't know. I didn't know there was any. But quiet part of the South Side of Chicago. I guess that's where, what's her name is from? Michelle Obama. They don't live there anymore. And they're carjacking people. There were 6 carjackings just on Saturday, July 18th. And 3 on my birthday, on Friday, in Chicago. From these so-called children, ages, minors, really. Minors is what you call them. Ages 10 to 17. And are they part of a ring? I wonder, you know, could it be like masterminded by people over age, and then they convince the minors, the juveniles, to commit these crazy crimes, and then the juveniles get lighter sentences because they're juvies. Juvies being short for juvenile. Maybe. I don't know. It could be. If they get caught, right? And they still have not gotten caught, according to this report that I read. It was a Drudge headline. Children as young as 10 carjacking, at least a dozen carjackings, more like 16. Do we need the AC on? Oh, you just turned it on? Okay. We have 3 people in the studio. Normally there's just 2. And when I talk and I come in, I think I run hotter too than Joel or Jesse Lee Peterson, meaning like natural body heat. And so it gets hot in here. And that's not good for the computers either, nor for us. Is the AC on? Yeah. Okay. And you know, with the heat, it's bad for the people in Chicago too, because the warmer it gets, the more likely people are to be outside, and the more likely that shootings are going to happen. That's really what they say. And it's factual. The shootings go up the warmer the weather gets. It's crazy. It's like they're acting like animals. Crazy. And over in Oakland, the mayor's house was vandalized. I think I may have a picture of the mayor's house. It may take some hunting. This crazy mayor, Libby Schaaf, she's a Democrat, of Oakland, California. What a disgrace. Why would you vote for somebody like that? And her home, she has Black Lives Matter in her window, a sign saying Black Lives Matter. I walk around the neighborhoods around here, and quite a few houses have Black Lives Matter signs. Some of them are professionally printed. Some of them are hand done. It's ridiculous. In this house, we believe science is real. Women's rights are human rights. No human is illegal, and all that stuff. Bunch of nonsense, right? Female-run households, I guess. Liberal. Defund OPD, this says. This is Libby Schaaf's house, right? I'm not trying to dox her. I'm not. This is from KCBS Radio. A photographer named Holly Kwan took this picture. But they tagged up her house and her driveway as well. You see they threw paint on the beautiful stone wall and the brick wall up in Oakland, California, the Bay Area, not far from San Francisco. And she has this evil, stupid, hypocritical, malicious hate symbol called Black Lives Matter sign. It's a deception. You know, that's a deception because it sounds nice, right? And it says stuff like, defund OPD, which is Oakland Police Department. Yeah, right. So that you guys can run wild. Please. And it says other stuff like, what did it say? Homes for all. Something like that. Cancel rent. Wake up, Libby. And these people are not awake. They think they're awake. Homes for all. Drop the charges. I guess because there's a lot of criminals getting charged, or a few anyways, getting charged as they're rioting. That's the only thing I can think of. But Oakland is a mess. It used to be a beautiful city. It's right next to Berkeley, isn't it? I think it is. Berkeley, which is also like a formerly beautiful city. That's where Antifa is allowed to, well, I mean, I guess all over the country, Antifa is allowed to attack the decent people who love the freedom of speech and love America and stuff like that. Anybody decent, unprotected. Indecent people, protected. That's liberal-run cities. And Trump is right. He wants to crack down on all these places. He sent a bunch of people down to, or up, to Portland, Oregon, where it's a mess. Attacking cops, attacking precincts, setting precincts on fire. Very similar to Seattle, Washington, another Pacific Northwest city that's also supposed to be beautiful, but it's not anymore. It's ugly because it's full of sick people. Disgusting. Trump is finally clamping down on the riots. Should have been locally handled, right? So he allowed for 50 days of riots. 50 days. I guess since the George Floyd killing, which was, they don't care about George Floyd. They just want an excuse to riot. They think this is their time to strike and to overthrow the government. Remember, there was this caller on the Jesse Lee Peterson show back in 2013, 2014, named Mel. He'd been a caller from years before that even. Mel from Atlanta, Georgia, an angry black caller, legendary caller, very entertaining to listen to, but very angry. He was in his 70s at the time, we think. Don't know if he's still alive. Jesse was on air in Atlanta at that time. That's why we were getting calls from this guy. And he was talking about the Tea Party, you know, the nice boomers, mostly white, but all races, want to say they say they're taxed enough already, and they want Obama to stop overspending on dumb stuff that didn't need to be spent on. And they wanted sanity back in the government. They didn't want rhinos running the country and Democrats. And they were called terrorists, and they were accused of wanting to overthrow the government. And that's ridiculous. These people are the ones who want to overthrow the government. They don't even want America to exist. This Antifa people, they say no borders, no walls, no USA at all. And they hate the government. They don't even like the Democrats who are on their side. Because Libby Schaaf is on their side. Honestly, even the rhinos are on their side. It's crazy. And the liberals love this madness because, I don't know, you can exploit a crazy thing. You can exploit a crazy situation. Amazing person wants, Hake, I dare you to finish off where Jesse left off. Finish reporting on the naked protester. No. But it is so exhibitionist. Where was that? In Oakland or Portland? I think it was Portland. It was up in Portland, Oregon. It's stupid. They have this saying called keep Portland weird. These are all north of us, right? Bunch of liberal-run cities, so-called hippies or whatever. Artsy people. Artsy people are the worst, believe me. Well, they're amongst the worst, right? They're on the side of the worst. Let's put it that way. They're liberals. Joel says the worst. Oh, he knows too. He hung around the artsy people too, because he was a dancer, or is a dancer. But yeah, I went to, I was forced to go to school, right? I mean, like college. I was like, I think I want to join the military. I'm not a dancer. I'm a human being. No human is a dancer. No human is illegal. I went to school, right? And I'm like, I don't want to pick a major. I don't know what I want to do in life. I was forced to go to college, right? My parents, you're gonna have better job prospects having a degree. I have not had one job where I needed a degree. But I'm like, okay, what am I gonna do? I don't want to end up teaching because I don't like dealing with these kids. And I don't want to have to write, so I don't want to study history or English or anything like that, even though I was an okay writer. And so I picked art with an emphasis in graphic design because I didn't want to pick some kind of art where I had to end up teaching. Because that's the only thing you can do with stupid art. I mean, unless you're very creative, Anyways, I started hanging around all these people, and they are a bunch of liberals. In fact, and these are Christians, right? Supposedly conservative, but nope. No, they Obama supporters and everything evil. Occupy Wall Street, all that disgusting stuff. Occupy Wall Street was basically Antifa too, back then. Antifa's been around since way before that, but it's a bunch of commies who hate America and hate the rich and stuff like that. Awful people. By the way, I remember back then they were supporting Black Lives Matter was also the Occupy Wall Street types, and they were having people from all kinds of different groups converge because they believe in this intersectionalism. So they had the victim-minded people in protest in favor of who are the people that Israel is oppressing, supposedly? Palestine. Yeah, the pro-Palestine people. Free Palestine. And there are people talking about, I'm with Hamas. Some guy in Ferguson talking about Hamas, that he's with Hamas, yelling at the cops. And I can't imagine that the cops know what he's talking about. But, just kind of shows you there's evil everywhere. And they'll exploit any crisis that they can. But all that to say, they hate America. And Trump is also pushing for sanity with regard to immigration, and it's beautiful in some cases, right? The selfish Democrats and the rhinos want the illegal aliens to be counted in the census, right? He wanted a census question about, are you in here? Are you a citizen? Are you a citizen? He didn't even ask, are you here illegally on the census? But the stupid Supreme Court apparently said you can't do that. What does a judge have any say over what the president rightly has the right to do, which is to ask whether you're a citizen or not on the census? But no. And so Trump, according to The Skim, which is a female-run outlet, he signed a memo yesterday saying that the Commerce Secretary should collect data on so-called undocumented immigrants, illegal aliens, right? They're well documented. They're just illegal. And remove them from the censuses. They're also fraudulently documented, right? Remove them from the final population totals because the people with the most illegals get more money. They get more representatives in Congress, potentially, if they have enough extra illegals in their country. I mean, in their district. It's crazy. So getting more power and money. More heads in schools. I've told you this before. More heads in schools, you get more money. That's why these corrupt teachers' unions, they want the kids to stay in their school no matter how failing of the school it is. It's sick. They don't care about the children. Everybody talks about, I love the children. No, you don't. Since 1790, the census has counted all U.S. citizens and non-citizens regardless of immigration status. But that's because we were sensible enough and man enough of a country not to allow so many illegals, I don't think. Except for back then, the illegals weren't the illegals Irish and Italians? They were. And no wonder we didn't like them. Amongst other things, right? But they say, no, that's just bigotry. It's bigotry because you guys are disproportionately breaking the law. And everybody knows about disproportionality, even Marcus Jones. He pointed out about the whites being out of control on the opioids and stuff, which I pointed out yesterday, too, by the way. And so they're going to be talking about, the Supreme Court blocked his citizenship question on the census, and now so-called immigration rights advocates are going to sue the Trump administration. We got to get rid of these judges and lawyers. They're sleazy people. But really, we kind of have to overcome the evil. Voice cracking, sound getting choppy there for a second. But maybe it's better now. James, your sound socks again. Is it better now? Press 1 if it's good. Press 2 if it's bad. Press 3 if it's just a little spotty still. Man, what a mess. Yeah, those Irish and those Italians. People talking about beta audio. It's better now. Yeah, it seems to fix itself. You guys never really figured out what the problem was, right? No. We don't know what the problem is. Psh. Black tech or boomer tech. I'll just call it boomer tech because I feel sorry for the blacks calling it black tech. It feels mean to pick on Joel and Bill. That's the problem with the whites. We're too nice. We feel sorry when we're supposed to be hard on. We're supposed to be la mano dura, right? The hard hand, something like that, right? Anyways, let me get to some calls and some super chats. Hopefully everything's good. Dark Side of the Bear, what? Thank you for hosting. Same to you, Honda Bear. Appreciate you guys on DLive. Follow me on DLive, guys. It's a great way to post super chats as well, since YouTube is not allowing me to accept super chats. YouTube doesn't want your money. Asmodor is hosting the Hake Report as well. Thank you, man. Hot Computer Smell says, that AC feels good, says, quoting me, Hake. Thank you to Shaggy Boy for resubbing for a month. On a 2-month sub streak. Thank you, Shaggy Boy. Right on, man. Hot Computer Smell says, they're not illegals, but documentally challenged. Thank you to Jesse Lee Peterson for also for hosting the Hake Report. Let me get to a caller or two. Richard in South Carolina. Richard, what's up?
Hey, man. How you doing, Hake?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm trying to keep from losing my temper.
Yeah, I know. That's why.
Crazy.
That's why Jesse Lee Peterson's message is so important.
That's right.
Because otherwise, we're not going to win if we just get angry.
Because that's what they want you to do. They want to poke, peek, shut you down, shut you up, and then say whatever they think they can say. Whatever they have all the rights, and we have none.
Yeah.
And they want us to be able to say and do what they want with their dirty, rotten, low-down ways and agenda and lifestyles, shove them down your throat, and then when you say, no, I don't like that, that's wrong, you are a bad person. You are a racist. You are homophobic. You are, wrong. And it's just, and then they want us, when we finally blow up and say not taking it anymore, I'm like Jesse. I'm afraid people like me are going to come out in the wrong way.
Yeah,
and
it's true. It's dangerous. Anger is evil.
Mm-hmm.
That's for sure. You're right about that. People do the craziest stuff. You heard about the men's rights attorney maybe yesterday, whom I reported about yesterday, who shot and killed allegedly, right? Allegedly. Shot and killed the judge's 20-year-old son and her husband, put him in critical condition. I don't know if he's going to survive. And allegedly, he's a suspect in the killing of another men's rights attorney, an actually decent one, who was speaking out against Black Lives Matter to the dumb Pasadena City College faculty in emails, right?
You know, the judge was part of the Jeffrey Epstein trial also, right?
Yeah, I had reported, like, she's overseeing, like, how Deutsche Bank, I don't know how you pronounce it, was involved in, like, maybe they were not protecting themselves or watching over something enough, and it was including Jeffrey Epstein's, whatever his dealings were. They were a bank involved in Jeffrey Epstein in some way. And who knows what the truth is about that. People are speculating that it may have been an Epstein-related killing or murder, and who knows? But the point is, like, this anger stuff is really evil.
Yeah, I at first when I called, I mean, I was really mad, and I was like, I had to get my head clear, because I told myself, just clear your mind, don't be angry, because if you're angry, you're not gonna be able to say what you want to say.
Right.
But what I'm gonna say right now, and I hope everybody on the left and all these whining, complaining babies are listening. If you want something in life, you got to work for it. I am one of the biggest minorities this country has. I'm paralyzed. I'm in a wheelchair. I broke my neck when I was 18 in a car wreck.
Wow.
And I picked myself up from that, and I went to college, and I got a degree, and I've been working, and I'm 51 years old now, and I've got a $300,000 home in a nice neighborhood, and I've got a shop. I've got 4 cars. I've got cars that I just play with on the drag strip. I got a race car. I got a lowrider truck. I got another car that I drive just if I want to go to the beach or something.
You sound like a rapper.
I'm doing well, but I use my money wisely.
Right.
You know, I'm a substitute teacher.
Nice. That's cool.
That's it. And I don't make that much money. But
right.
I invest my money. I get all this money that I've been getting. My bank account has doubled 3 times since we've been laid out of work.
Wow, interesting.
And the money that the government's giving us for unemployment. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure there's a lot of these people running around and they're protesting, and they're blowing that money, running here and there, protesting, buying gold or wear around their neck, buying rims for the cars, car radios and speakers, and if they're not stealing them, and they're just blowing it when they could be using that money to invest in something.
Right. They're blind on that issue, for sure.
Buy a little piece of land, start a business. You know, I use my money. I invested in the stock market. I got a mutual fund. I've got an E-Trade account that I use during the day. That I put $2,000 or $3,000 in there, and I try to bring it up to $4,000, $5,000, $6,000.
And you're in South Carolina, right?
Right.
Nice. Man, and yet with all that success, all that worldly success, it's still not right, because you still don't have peace, like you acknowledged, like with the anger.
Yeah.
You still need to handle yourself spiritually.
Right. Well,
yeah.
And
that's where I think that's where it starts, honestly.
My anger is with these people that whine and complain and say, I can't get nowhere because of the
Are you sure it's only with them though, man? Because usually it doesn't start with somebody so far away that you so frequently don't even know. You know what I mean? These people think that they're angry at whites or at cops or at Trump or whatever, but it starts much closer to home. I think Jesse Lee Peterson is so right when he points people back to their parents, who are the first people that perpetrate an injustice in some form or other against the child who's innocent. You know what I mean?
Well, I grew up working in the yard, working in the garden.
Yeah.
Grew up with discipline. My mom, she was a little easier on me than my dad. She kind of tried to soften us up a little bit.
Isn't that always the way?
But my
Sometimes.
parents are both living, and I've went there with, like Jesse says, with my mom. I told my mama, I said, well, she laughed, and I tried to get her. I said, why don't you call Jesse up, Mom? I said, you need to talk to Jesse. I don't want to talk to him. You know? And
she doesn't want to face herself. It's so funny. It's so funny because, you know, even the people who are fans of Jesse and like listening to him, once they have to talk to him themselves, it's different. It's like, oh man, actually, like you don't realize, you're not aware of yourself, your own shortcomings until you face somebody who's like holding up a mirror to you. In some cases.
I gave my mom an example of mama love. I told Mom just like that. I said, Mama love will take you to hell.
Yeah.
And she was like, what? She said, and I said, look, I'm gonna give you an example of something that happened when I was a teenager, as a young boy, and of mama love. My dad had hunting dogs, and my job was to feed them and water them every day. Mm-hmm. And one day I went a day without feeding them. I forgot. And the next day I didn't do it either.
Wow.
And the water buckets got dry. It was summertime. The water bucket was dry. And my dad, he had a way of setting you up, see what you was going to say. He seen the water buckets turned over out there, so he walked out there and looked and seen that they were completely bone dry. And he came up to me and he said, son, did you feed the dogs today? And I said, yes, sir. And he said, did you give them water? I said, yes, sir. He said, well, I'll ask you something. I just walked out there, and the buckets are dry. And I try to make up all kind of excuses or reasons, give him why those buckets, water got dumped out that I didn't give them.
Yeah.
And I was going to get a whooping, you know. And I knew it, and I was just doing the best I could to get out of it. And my mom said, well, maybe he's telling the truth.
Oh,
you know? Gosh. And I said, Dad, right there. And I didn't get a whooping that day.
Wow.
I said, you taught my dad out of giving me a whooping. And I said, and as a grown man, I'm telling you right now, needed one that day more than any other day just about in my life.
Yep.
And I was lying. And I said, and that's an example. You had that mama love.
Yep.
The real love comes from the dad because it's hurt him more to pick up that belt and whoop me than the belt hurt me.
That is interesting, Richard. That is the picture of what's going on today in the country, with these people just being lenient on the criminals and trying to prevent the father from cracking down on the criminals and protecting the decent people, protecting the poor dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard a lady on the show today talking about it. It takes an anger for a man to whip his son on Jesse's show today.
She claimed that it takes it's anger.
No, it's not anger. It's love.
Right.
For a man to pull his belt off and whoop his child, would they need a whooping because they've done something wrong or they've lied about something? They've been caught with their hand in the cookie jar when they weren't supposed to? That's love. Yeah. That's a lot of love because it hurts. My dad, you know, the old saying, this hurts me worse than it's going to hurt you.
I don't know if I ever believed that one. I was never told it, but I remember hearing the cliche. Yeah. Anyway, Richard, I appreciate it. Great stories, great input, and good luck, man. I appreciate you. Yep. Nice stories.
Thank you, man.
All right. Take care. That is true. My mother, we were always spanked as kids, right? We called it spanks. And my mother would go, pa, 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 like 10 or 12 times or more. Whereas my dad would just do like 3 or 5. They were hard. Whoosh. Nice. Oh, man. Let me quickly get to Tony out of California. I wonder if this is the same Tony that I'm thinking of. He's been on hold for some time. Tony, thanks for holding. What's up?
Yes, good morning. How are you, Hake?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm doing great, sir. I just want to clear up a couple of your lies that you were speaking on this morning.
Which lies?
About Tamir Rice. He was 135 pounds, 5'3" child, 12 years old, playing with a water pistol. Okay?
It was not a water pistol. You're lying now.
No, he was in the park playing with a water pistol.
No, it was like a pellet gun or a BB gun.
No, why would he have a BB gun in the city, sir? Come on, man.
He was how tall? Hold on. You said he was 100.
5'3", 125 or 130 pounds.
Okay. All right.
So you say the man was 6'7", 200 pounds, 12-year-old child. Man, why do you always have to lie to make your audience think that you're telling the truth? I can't understand that.
I wasn't lying. I was mistaken, and so are you. Honestly, did you know that you're mistaken too? I almost call him Earl.
He's 12 years old. How do a 12-year-old look like an adult?
By being black. They're frequent. I don't know. People are frequently overgrown at a young. I'm just playing around, man. It's not racist.
No,
Calm down.
Don't play on the truth, man. That boy is dead behind.
Hey, listen.
3 seconds reaction time on the police part.
No, I mean you're just saying that. You don't know if they came in on the loudspeaker saying, "Hey, put your hands up." It was a hold on, man. Hold on. Hold on.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
I hate for you to keep lying like you do.
NPR.org, which is National Public Radio, a far-left anti-American outlet, by the way. They say the medical examiner determined the victim's height to be 5'7", not 5'5" or 5'3", whatever you said, and the weight to be 195 pounds, not 135, as you claimed falsely. You can't say BS. You have to say bogus speech.
Okay, that's bogus. That's bogus, brother. That's bogus.
Hey, all right. Yeah, I agree that NPR is bogus, but that's what they claimed. Okay. Tamir Rice, and this says, Cleveland prosecutors report Tamir Rice borrowed pellet gun, that's not a water gun, from a friend. And I think that pellet gun did not even have an orange tip to begin with. It's not that he took the orange tip off, just FYI. But it didn't have an orange tip. It was realistic looking. Somebody called the cops on him.
Okay, so when the police pull up, how long did it take him to shoot that child? 3 seconds.
I think you're right. I think it was 3 seconds after they got out of the car. But there's no sound in the video, right? We saw footage.
He didn't say put the gun down. He didn't say.
You don't know that.
He didn't say nothing.
You don't know that.
You just said there wasn't no sound.
There was no sound in the audio. Okay. There was no audio to the video. There was no audio to the video, man. This is so ridiculous because we're talking about a situation that took place 5 years ago or more.
But you brought it up.
I brought it up because people act like these people are such innocent children when 10-year-olds. Hold on. No. Hold on, man. Okay, Tamir Rice, maybe he was. I don't know. But I'm talking about the so-called children who are. What are they doing? They're carjacking people at gunpoint in Chicago. 10-year-olds, ages 10 to 17, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they talk like they're children that can do no harm when children commit murders all the time, especially ones in. Especially. Hold on.
Don't commit murder.
Hold on. Especially black children. They're doing this too. Yes.
Especially.
Yes.
So whites don't commit nothing, right?
They do. They do too.
So why don't you speak on that then?
I do speak on it, but blacks are doing it disproportionately. Why are you all mad when I bring up the blacks? You got to bring up the whites.
But the thing is, sir.
No, answer the question.
What's that? Yes. Even keep it real. Keep it even. Whites commit just as much crime that blacks do.
That's not true.
They do not report it.
Okay, yeah, I feel much safer in. Hold on, man.
Okay, you won't even let me speak. so I can tell you the truth on the matter.
All right, tell the so-called truth on the matter. I spit a little bit.
How many white folks kill family members and husbands and wives for their insurance money? How many family members kill each other just because they live next door to each other?
Too many.
How many children kill their parents for their daggone inheritance? White folks.
A lot, probably, yeah.
Okay, so the thing is, you don't speak on that. The newscasters and the media don't speak on that. You got so many murders in white folks areas that you wouldn't believe it. But the only place you can catch it if you look at all these 2020 DLive and shows like that. That's the only way you catch that kind of stuff.
I know. I cover some of the white crime. I just covered one where this white MRA guy killed a bunch of whatever.
And then I will speak on this also. You said.
But hey, hold on, Tony. No. I'm not going to let you railroad to the next topic because
I'm not railroad. I'm just wondering. I just want to clear up some things.
I know, but you're
to hear the truth on the matter.
How come we never see videos of white mobs beating on a black person?
You do.
No, you don't. You do.
Look at the situation that's happening in Indiana when the white folks were trying to hang that black dude. I mean, what you talking about, brother? Come on, man. Keep it real.
Huh?
What happened in Indiana? The 3 white dudes two just got convicted for when they were trying to hang the black guy, caught on tape during broad daylight.
Interesting. Yeah, is that is that a threat to society at large? It's not rampant. That's one story. Hold on, Tony.
Had 6 hangings in America within the last 2 months.
You talking about hangings? Are you talking about the suicides?
No, ain't no damn suicide.
Yeah, they were suicides.
See, that's that white narrative on the reversing it so it won't look like white folks are hanging black folks again.
Dude, man, you're so ridiculous. This is how dumb.
No, I'm truthful, bro.
No, you're not truthful.
I'm calling the truth. Can I tell you this one thing?
Yeah.
Why don't you speak on Sean Hannity and his counterpartner, whatever that dude name, on the sexual harassment charges? You won't speak on that because
I touched on it.
Hannity,
hold on, man.
Huh?
I did touch on that. I said it's ridiculous. I said I don't give because Tony, I don't give play to the attacks, false accusations against men, not even against black men.
Wow. So that's a false allegation.
I'm sure.
Huh?
I'm sure it's false.
Oh my God.
Innocent unless proven guilty, Tony.
I'm sure it is your fault because Sean Hannity is on y'all board members. He's the one that carrying y'all show.
No, you don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, I do, sir. Come on, man.
So he used to be on the Bond board, but that doesn't mean he carries my show. It's so ridiculous, man.
It's not ridiculous. It's the truth.
Yes, it is. It's ridiculous. You're just speculating.
No, y'all just use propaganda, and that's the way
you're acting silly. You're being very childish right now, Tony.
Okay, wow, childish.
Yes.
Wow. And then you will tell me that what that Zimmerman, if he had followed the police instructions, that boy would be alive today.
No, that's not true necessarily. Because
the police told him to back off.
It wasn't the cops. It wasn't the cops, and he didn't have to obey that order. It wasn't even an order. It said.
But wait a minute. 911 told him to back off.
Right. 911 is not the police. 911 is not the police. It's a dispatcher. By the way, just FYI. And they said, hold on, Tony. Hold on, Tony, since you're bringing up stuff from 2012 or whenever this thing happened.
Wait, I'm bringing up what you brought up. That's all I'm doing.
I don't. Oh, yeah, I did say, oh, poor. They said Trayvon was a child. He wasn't a child. He was.
17 years old.
17 years old. That's not a child.
Going to the store, minding his own business, and then he in the bed.
I don't know if he was minding his own business. George Zimmerman.
Come on, man.
George Zimmerman was the neighborhood watch, and he said, this person is looking suspicious.
Looking suspicious? He's black with a hood on?
I mean, that helps. That does help.
That's a Karen. That's a Karen right there.
Huh?
Karen trying to handle things. Come on, bro.
Hey, man. Stop hating white people.
Ain't nobody hating. No, black folks. White folks stop hating on black.
Tony, you're not a criminal, are you?
I try not to be.
So listen, if Trayvon Martin was not if Trayvon Martin was not a burglary suspect, then why did he have a whole bunch of women's jewelry in at least 7 pieces, right, of women's jewelry in his book bag, his backpack, and a burglary tool? Hold on, man. I didn't finish the question. And he had a burglary tool, which is a screwdriver, in his backpack, and he was caught with this stuff.
I think you're talking about the wrong story.
No, that's Trayvon Martin.
He had an iced tea and some Skittles in his hand.
I'm talking about when he was suspended from, well, actually, this is before he was suspended from school. In fact, he should have been in jail, and then he would be alive today. But they have these diversion programs where they don't punish kids for crime.
So what you do is you go dig up, you go find whatever you can find to justify a murder. That's what you're saying.
It's not a murder. It's self-defense, dude. Don't you believe in? Hold on, Tony. Tony.
If I bring a knife to a gunfight, who gonna win? Get there. Like, ooh, you make
it's a 50-50, man. It's a 50-50. If it's within 10 feet, the knife can win.
When you fighting a 17-year-old and you got a gun, come on, man. Keep it real.
Dude, you don't know what you're talking about. It's self-defense.
Oh my God.
Tony,
in your law is self-defense.
Yeah. I thought you guys didn't like lynch mobs and false accusations because black people, I heard, have suffered from false accusations in the past and been lynched over false accusations. So then why are you wanting to do the same thing to George Zimmerman when you don't even know the story? You're just calling it murder when you know nothing about it.
What you mean? I know just as much about it as you do, my friend.
Exactly, which is nothing.
Let's talk about all these sex.
That's gross.
That's white. The Catholic Church. Let's talk about that.
The Catholic Church are not white. They don't count.
Oh my God.
Anyways. I'm just playing around. But dude, I mean, if you really knew and cared about sex, hold on, man. Hold on. If you really knew and cared about child sex victims, then you would know and care about the blacks who are committing it too, and the Hispanics, at disproportionate rates, higher rates than the whites. And you know the whites are snitchers.
That's another lie.
No, it's not another lie, man. It's not a lie.
Yes, it is.
No.
Yes, it is.
Anyways.
I mean, because the thing is, sir, report the truth. I mean, you'll get better respect if you report the truth instead of being all this propaganda and all these bogus stories that you flipping. You're just like Fox News. That's why when I listen to you and listen to Jesse, I flip it to find the real truth in it. Because all y'all do is lean to your side of the story and try to make people be a fool to believe the story that y'all tell.
I mean, you're one of the fools who believes the liberal lies, so I think you're safer listening to me and taking heed.
All I do is try to find the truth and
I try to get it right.
Told.
Yep. All right. Thanks, man.
No, you don't.
All right.
Have a good day.
You too. He's nice. Beta. Ask Tony if his EBT card got declined this morning, says Brandon M. That's racial profiling, Brandon M. I'm just playing around. So, by the way, you guys can support if you're on YouTube and you want to give super chats, you can go to streamlabs.com/the Hake Report /V2. Bechica V. Anyways, guys, what a mess. And these, it's so crazy. That's an example of the delusions that we got to overcome, right? It's so crazy. People are a mess. 15 people wounded in a mass shooting in Chicago. Well, it's kind of nice that I don't think anybody was killed, although one woman was fighting for her life in that crazy mass shooting aftermath in that clip that I played for you guys. 6:30 p.m. Tuesday night. They wait until they're coming out of the funeral and pop, 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 shoot them up. Luckily, some of them were armed and shot back. Who brings a gun to a funeral? Smart people. Right on to the smart blacks. But, I mean, they were expecting trouble. And they have these false solutions for it, by the way. Moms against gun violence or I think it's Moms Against Senseless Violence, right? they're well-meaning. This is what I mean by they don't care about the black-on-black crime because they don't fix it. And they care, like they're emotional about it, but they don't have the real solutions, or they would be embracing men like Jesse Lee Peterson and the real message of truth. They talk about guns off the streets and elect far-left lesbians like Lori Lightfoot, radical people. She's a radical person, radical in the wrong way, radical evil. Excuse me. So it's a dark place, and it would be great if President Trump, I hear that he's sending 150 troops down there to help manage the situation. But at that point, it's so, like, it's lost. You need like spiritual fighters or something. I don't know. I don't know what it's going to take to turn stuff around. Do they just have to, the generation just have to die out? But what about the younger generation? They're not getting any truth because they have these sick social media companies like YouTube and Facebook and Twitter, Instagram, and everybody who are the new mainstream media, right? Shutting down the truth, such as Jesse Lee Peterson. And he's just covering, and he was covering the naked protester, right? But she was covered, she was blurred, right? It was totally blurred out. So they hate truth. And, they openly support Black Lives Matter, which is such a lie. And, the lie, as I say, of Black Lives Matter is the lie that whites are the problem, or cops are the problem. He did call her which he is. They call themselves sluts. Slut walk, right? Amber Rose, be proud of it. He did call her that. That was funny. But it got shut down. Oh, man. I'm sure they were saying, oh, man, shut it down. Yeah, and it's so sick. That's that artsy nastiness. Exhibitionism. That's all it is. She doesn't care about blacks or anybody else. This woman, not that I know this person, but you can see somebody posing naked is just not a sane person. It's a egotistical person. Being artsy, whatever. That's Portland for you. It's sick. I'm going to be getting to more of your calls. Appreciate you guys hanging on. 888-775-3773. Apocalypse 2020 says, boomers are the problem, Hake. No, they're the symptom. Louis Bootsy says, get a job, Hake. 3 hours. 3. I mean, let me see if I can remonetize. Maybe I need to enlist my buddy, Will, who's offering to help me out, at least for a few days over here coming up, to sanitize my YouTube channel so I can get remonetized. Then it can be kind of like a job, right? That'd be nice. But these people, they don't have solutions. Not Lori Lightfoot, not even those nice blacks who are talking about bring in the people who are bring in the feds to help clean up the crime, because the crime is so, as that black man said in the clip at the beginning of the show, it's unnatural. And it is unnatural. They act like, all of these funeral victims, they just needed bread, as AOC claimed. They just needed bread. Murders are spiking, and she's pretending like it's just thefts for bread. And I have pictures of this crazy woman, and I'll show it to you after the break, who's trying to steal a 65-inch TV. Is she related to Ahmaud Arbery? Ahmaud Arbery was caught trying to do that. That is a big TV to try to steal. They stole smaller stuff, I hear. They got away. 65-inch Ultra HD TV. But anyways, we're at the top of the first hour. I got to take a break. I'm going to be covering more stuff. You guys can support on Patreon, Subscribestar, Teespring, buy my shirts. There's some great shirts out there too, by the way. I have more designs in my mind, such as Facts Are Not Truth. I have facts versus truth. And more crime. The Democrats, AOC acting like a victim. She's a woman when she wants. She's a female, a poor innocent female when she wants to be, when it suits her. So pathetic. And I have a clip from this man who's apologizing for an outburst about her, over her, I guess. A male Democrat, middle-aged man. Such a shame. Anyways, guys, I'll be back in a few minutes. I got to take a quick break. So hang tight for hour 2 of the Hake Report, Monday through Friday, no longer on Sundays. 9 a.m. U.S. Pacific Daylight Time here from Los Angeles. Be right back, guys. See you soon.
What you need.
We are back. I am James Hake. This is Hour 2, 10:07 a.m. here in Los Angeles. Hour 2 of the Hake Report, Wednesday, July 22nd, 2020. And it's crazy. More crime always going out of control in the liberal areas, amongst the blacks too. And Marcus Jones is pretending like this, telling the truth about the blacks won't lower the suicide rates. I think it might. You never know. Telling the truth in any way, the truth tends to spread. You start telling the truth in one sense, you start telling the truth in the other. Very true. Marcus Jones pretending to love whites. It's so beautiful. Isn't it so beautiful? At least you gotta fake it till you make it. Pretend to love them until you really do love them, right? Who knows? But I was showing you these pics of this woman who was caught trying to steal a gigantic TV. And then I'll get to AOC. From Walmart. She looks nice. Maybe constipated. This lady. Big woman. Big boned. I got this from Drudge and the Smoking Gun. Look at this huge TV. It's bigger than her, which is huge. 65-inch TV. Woman caught trying to steal a massive TV from a Walmart. And I forget where this was. It says, go big or go home. Florida cops are seeking to identify the woman Sunday afternoon. Maybe they have identified her by now. Although there is a no-snitch culture in this community, right? 40 miles east of Tampa in Mulberry. And the suspect did have an accomplice. The accomplice threw the smaller items in the vehicle and they got away. But fortunately, the Walmart security stopped her. And so she left the TV and they took off. $450 TV, by the way. They can afford that. Just use your food stamps to buy that TV, right? You know, I was arguing with Tony from California. Is he a truck driver? Normally, truck drivers are sensible people. At least the ones who call into the Jesse Lee Peterson show and the Hake Report. And they know that what I'm telling is in the area of the truth. Sometimes the facts may not be perfect, such as Tamir Rice was 195 pounds, not 200. And he was not 6 foot. He was 5'9", 195 pounds. That's a big boy. Tamir Rice, 12 years old. Shot and killed, though, by a rookie cop. And it may have been a mistake, or it may have been justified, because it looked like his hand was going towards his waistband, and they were told he was armed, and the dispatcher did not tell them what the person who called the cops said. Oh, this guy's waving a gun, flashing at people, pointing it at people. And you saw it on camera, or I saw it on camera, on the footage. They seemed to censor that stuff out, though, later. Interesting. But I do recall seeing it in the security footage. He's pointing at people, thinking it's funny and stuff like that. And it goes for the waistband. They think it's a real gun because the dispatcher didn't tell him it may be a toy, because the person who called the cops said he's pointing a gun at people. It may not be a real gun. But, you know, why the dispatcher doesn't have to say that. It may not be real. Because, you know, you never know. Anyways, it's just an unfortunate incident, but they want to cry racism. They didn't even give them but 3 seconds. 3 seconds to put up your hands or not be reaching for, I don't know. Maybe it was a rookie mistake. It's funny that how we still don't know, and they claim the cops lied, and therefore they call them murderers. Like the cops went in just to kill that 12-year-old overgrown guy. I say overgrown, but he grew up early. And people do, especially females. When they grew up without their father, I don't remember Tamir Rice's situation. I remember his mother being sort of semi-prominent. I don't remember any mention of his father. But girls, when they don't have their father, they go through puberty early. They develop it's like their body knows they need a man. Since the father's not around, they try to attract a man. Maybe it's like to protect Maybe a physiological thing. They need to know they know that they need to get protected quick, so their body tries to attract a man right away. That's my theory. Science with Hake. Hake the science man. Better than Bill Nye. Man, how far off the deep end did he go? So, let me tell you about this poor, fragile victim lady, AOC. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. They pretend like they're powerful women, right? They're not. They're evil. They're fake. And then I will play this clip from this guy who apologized to her later. Republican Ted Yoho. I saw this on Twitter, right? I like to go on Twitter. It's a degenerate platform. It's evil. And I'll tell you more about Twitter. Disgusting. But anyways, Ted Yoho accosted, according to Twitter, right? Twitter is a publisher, right? They publish news. They're not a platform anymore. They just act like they're a platform. And it's fun, you know, you can be on a platform / help them publish, I guess. But accosted Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez with crude language, the Hill reports. Acting all innocent. She's an innocent communist subverter of America. Hater. Florida lawmaker Ted Yoho used crude language, Y-O-H-O, that's how it's spelled, and personal language to challenge New York Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez regarding her position on crime and policing, which is don't enforce laws against criminals and enforce undue laws against policing. Outside of the U.S. Capitol on Monday, this happened a couple days ago, according to The Hill. What chocolate milk drink? Is there a chocolate milk drink in the picture that she was carrying? Like a little child? Like a little kindergartner girl? A Yoho? Oh, maybe. Yoo-hoo. Talking about Yoo-hoo, yeah. So, according to reporter Mike Lillis, probably a simp for the ladies. And I use the term ladies loosely, right? Yoho called Ocasio-Cortez disgusting. Where's the lie? She is disgusting. And referred to her using other crude language. He called her blanking blank. You can fill in the blanks. F word, B word. Again, where's the lie? I mean, that might be true. I don't know. So Representative Ted Yoho's office provided a statement to the Daily Caller saying he did not call her any name, at least not to her face. Maybe he was walking away and saying that. And you can easily say those words, effing B word. I mean, not you, because you don't cuss, right? You can easily say those words and not be directed at anybody. It can be just an expression of anger, right? People say F word, or people say S word, or people say B word a lot. And it's not necessarily just expression of general anger, right? And he might have been angry, who knows? Or maybe he didn't even say the words and they're just lying on him. But Olivia Beavers is a person, blue check mark person on Twitter, a female, who's saying, exclamation mark, my colleague Mike, referring to this so-called journalist, saw Representative Ted Yoho accost. Look at the language that they use. Accost Representative AOC at the Capitol today for her suggestion poverty and unemployment are driving New York City's spike in crime amid COVID. Because she's like, oh, you're just hungry, so you have to steal some bread, which is not what they're stealing. Yoho said, you are out of your freaking mind. AOC told Yoho he was being, quote-unquote, rude. You know, she's trying to do a man's job being in politics. She should take it like a man instead of pulling the woman card, being a blanking blank, which is what he said when they parted ways. According to this Mike guy. AOC said she has never experienced this before. Here's a quote, according to Mike, what she told to Mike. That kind of confrontation hasn't ever happened to me, ever. You notice that language, happened to me. Imagine a man talking about a confrontation happening to him. I could picture like a homosexual guy saying, this has never happened to me. And then I've never had the kind of abrupt, disgusting kind of disrespect levied at me. I kind of doubt that. I don't know. Approached a few hours later, Yoho declined to discuss the exchange. So The Hill put out this article, and I have a screenshot that Grace Seggers, another blue checkmark liberal female, and I didn't bleep out or blank out the language here, so cover your eyes, kids. But this is, the article says, Representative Ted Yoho, Republican from Florida, was coming down the steps on the east side of the Capitol on Monday. So if you guys know what that looks like, I don't know. Having just voted when he approached Ocasio-Cortez, who was ascending into the building to cast a vote of her own. Late. In a brief but heated exchange, which was overheard by a reporter, Yoho told Ocasio-Cortez she was disgusting, which is true for recently suggesting poverty and unemployment are driving the spike in crime. Yeah, poverty does not cause crime. Immorality causes both poverty and crime. And crime causes poverty, by the way. In New York City during the coronavirus pandemic. You are out of your freaking mind, Yoho told her. Which is true. Ocasio-Cortez shot back telling Yoho he was being rude, which is a passive-aggressive female response to a man telling a woman the truth, right? And maybe he was angry, but she was a nasty person, right? Not to excuse it if it was, but this is heated. This is like life and death situations that they're discussing, honestly. Crime in New York City. And she's excusing it, calling it whatever, you know. They parted ways. Ocasio-Cortez headed into the building while Yoho, joined by Representative Roger Williams, Republican from Texas, began descending towards the House office buildings. A few steps down, Yoho offered a parting thought to no one in particular. Effing B-word, he said. See? He didn't call her that in person. It was to no one in particular. The Hill itself admits. So I have Ted Yoho talking on the House floor about this situation. I don't know if this was this morning or what, but here he is, quote unquote. I got this from Huffington Post, by the way. A far left joke of an outlet, but so-called apologizing for his outburst over this Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. You know, evil people like Alexandria are gonna, they're meant to kind of drive the semi-sane people nuts, drive them insane. And then they humiliate themselves apologizing. They go too far with the confrontation and way too far with the apology. But here he is, and he looks like he's almost gonna cry. It's kind of hard to watch, but watch this.
Address the strife I injected into the already contentious Congress. I have worked with many members in this chamber over the past 4 terms, members on both sides of the aisle, and each of you know that I'm a man of my word. So let me take a moment to address this body. I rise to apologize for the abrupt manner of the conversation I had with my colleague from New York. It is true that we disagree on policies and visions for America, but that does not mean we should be disrespectful. Having been married for 45 years with 2 daughters, I'm very cognizant of my language. The offensive name-calling words attributed to me by the press were never spoken to my colleagues, and if they were construed that way, I apologize for their misunderstanding. As my colleagues know, I'm passionate about those affected by poverty. My wife Carolyn and I started out together at the age of 19 with nothing. We did odd jobs, and we were on food stamps. I know the face of poverty, and for a time it was mine. That is why I know people in this country can still, with all its faults, rise up and succeed and not be encouraged to break the law. I will commit to each of you that I will conduct myself from a place of passion and understanding, that policy and political disagreement be vigorously debated with the knowledge that we approach the problems facing our nation with the betterment of the country in mind and the people we serve. I cannot apologize for my passion or for loving my God, my family, and my country. I yield back.
Hard to watch, huh? Such a shame. And, you know, that's the brainwashing. You heard him talk about being passionate and having passion and won't apologize for his passion. You know, and I think he does love his country. And he's trying to do the right thing. But she is a millionaire, notes Andrew Moffat. Yeah, I think she is. And she's living with her boyfriend who looks like me. Except hopefully more out of shape. But this man, he needs a preacher. He needs Jesse Lee Peterson to get a hold of him, or somebody to get a hold of him and tell him to get over the passion, because he's not going to fight effectively that way. And, maybe he's really trying to do the right thing. There's a few in there. Gotta be a few, right? Trying to do good intentions, right? Everybody's so-called trying to do the right thing. But, man, Florida, man, what a shame. Where's her well, anyways, who cares? We don't want her to apologize. She's evil. We want her out. You are way better than AOC boyfriend. Thank you, based America First. Get up off his knees, says Marie Maybe Gole. Yes, very true. Very needed. Because we're not battling ladies. Why did he bring up, as a husband for, 25, 45 years? What the? I'm very cognizant of my words and language. Stop police. I mean, you can police your spirit, right? Police your spirit, not your words so much. I mean, you have to tame your tongue, right? Your tongue is very whatever. And I will be getting to your calls. Appreciate you guys. 888-775-3773. But this guy, it's all backwards and discombobulated. People have false values, such as, I'm going to be cognizant of my words with a lady. It's kind of like what Jesse Lee Peterson tweeted out yesterday. These women really don't belong there, especially the liberals, which most of them are, including the Rhino Republican females. Because they're just going to exploit the weakness and caving and kissing up of men to just push their way. Bullies. And by the way, yeah, lefties never apologize. Neither does Trump. And Trump never apologizes because he's never wrong. The only time he should apologize is when he's too nice to the liberals, letting the criminals out of prison, stuff like that. Listening to Kim Kardashian too much. Twitter is Antifa. Twitter banned, according to Drudge, 7,000 QAnon accounts. QAnon is those people that you see in the live streams of the Trump rally videos when you go on Donald J. Trump channel or Golden State, whatever channel, Golden State channel, one of the Golden State something channel. And maybe you could see them a little bit on the Right Side Broadcasting Network channel. You see these people referencing Q, right? QAnon. And so they're into like this notion that there's like this conspiracy going on. And there are conspiracies going on. What's up, Jay? Tell Beetlejuice to clean up Chicago. She can't do that even if she tried, Jay. You know that. Referring to Lori Lightfoot. Leslie Lightfoot, as some say. Is that a slur? I don't mean it as a slur, although it is a slur to be that. This guy is a Q person. QAnon. Is that a noose that he's wearing? Joel or somebody found a picture of a person at a rally, apparently a rally, wearing a big Q, a cardboard cutout of a Q with American flag coming, pattern on it. He's wearing a red shirt that says Anon, and that shirt it's printed with what looks like a rope. But Q are those are like the non-violent people, as far as I know. But they're banned. And Twitter has also limited 150,000 others as part of a broad crackdown. Twitter cites the risk of harm offline. I have one of their tweets. Twitter Safety tweeted out, "We've been clear that we will take strong enforcement action on behavior that has the potential to lead to offline harm." Black Lives Matter. Antifa? No, they're talking about Q. In line with this approach, this week we are taking further action on so-called QAnon activity across the service. And so, it's laughable. They are Antifa, and they promote Black Lives Matter, which are disgusting, terrible lies, destructive to the blacks that they pretend to love. The increase in violent crime and murders. That was the guy who left the rope pull in Bubba's garage. And speaking of this drama over nooses, I heard that Lowe's, according to Drudge, and Lowe's, the store that sells hardware and stuff. And I'm going to take your calls. Some of you guys are criticizing me for citing Drudge. Is going to change how it sells rope after a noose was so-called found at a store. As if blacks are... It's a reference to lynching, right, I guess, in their minds. But sane people are not thinking like that. Expect No Mercy says GOP cucks need to go, and cucks are those who betray what's right in favor of what's evil. Weak people. Taking care of non-citizens more and criminals more so than law-abiding citizens. Which is evil on both parts. It's just like the mother of that man who called into my show, Richard from North Carolina or South Carolina, who his mother talked his father out. Maybe he's telling the truth, even though he was obviously lying. Females. Intellectuals, too. It's a female mindset. Did you know that? It really is. Because you think, oh, maybe they're telling the truth. When you know that these people are lying. Take your pick on the lies. The Black Lives Matter false victimhood lie. Or the notion that Twitter is really fighting against disinformation. Or, CNN or any of these people. They're fake. Anyways, speaking of fake, this person is criticizing me for citing Drudge. Joe, a first-time caller from Florida, has been on hold for some time. Thank you for holding, Joe. What's up?
Hey, James. How you doing, man?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
All is well here. Thank you. Before I get to my quick point, the final straw for me on YouTube today, I think I'm going to drop YouTube. And I was trying to figure out how to work DLive. It's kind of complicated for me, though. I'm not very sophisticated like that. You have to buy lemons, and
yeah,
so many lemons. It's kind of beyond my. So I'm trying not to patronize these liberal platforms.
Right.
And but the purpose of my call was I'm just wondering. I know you've mentioned it before, as to why you source your news from the Drudge Report, but when you say the Drudge reported that. The Drudge doesn't have reporters. All they do is link you to other news sites. It's like a clearinghouse.
For the most part. So sometimes they get original information. But yeah, for the most part, you're right.
Right. But there are. I'm sure you've been on the Drudge a long time, and when conservative news was harder to find, the Drudge was the go-to site. I agree with that. But there are strong rumors, and you can kind of see their angle has drifted further away from conservatism. And I'm not just talking about Trump, because we know that they're mad at Trump for some reason, so they go from that angle. But they seem to go more towards these AP, and you commented yesterday on how ridiculous AP is. That, now they're capitalizing black but not white. I mean, that's just open propaganda.
Right.
But Drudge is not linking any time to conservative sources. Like the Gateway, I don't want to get into the names of it, but we know there are true conservative websites out there.
Yeah.
And for the most part, the Drudge just links to the mainstream report. So when you're reading these headlines and these stories about the events that are going on, you're recirculating the vocabulary that they use, like the peaceful protesters demanded that, and I know you always comment on it yeah, right, they're not peaceful.
Yeah.
But sometimes I think to myself, why are we regurgitating their viewpoints? Why aren't we, saying stuff that what they are. Like, well, these are anarchists who are out to destroy federal property to lead for the overthrow of the government instead of.
And they're worse than anarchists, by the way. But that's beside the point. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's. I was just wondering, why are you staunchly still going to, like? And sometimes it throws me off because I know that you're not a shill like Billy from Texas thinks. I know
Right.
that. But why do you sometimes even source like CNN? Like, there's been times when you say, according to the far left,
Right.
CNN. Why do you even bother, using their stories?
I like to know what they're talking about because that's what a lot of the people who are only exposed to the mainstream culture are exposed to. So I like to know what they're saying. That's part of the reason. I honestly do not see what's going on with Drudge. I don't know for a fact that they are angry at Trump. I don't even know if Matt Drudge is involved or not anymore with Drudge. Somebody in the chat was saying that he sold the website 8 years ago or something like that. I have no idea what the truth is with that. And, other people who are apparently more observant in the big picture of how Drudge operates, I hear it all the time. I've seen it on Fox News, people commenting that Drudge has gone more liberal or more sort of anti-Trump or whatever. I do see them citing the Gateway Pundit and Breitbart and others, but you're right. They do cite CNN and AP and Washington Post and New York Times and all these others. I think of it as a way to deal with what they're saying and put the truth to what they're saying. And, I'm not against somebody says use Revolver. Revolver is another website. There's a bunch of, are you familiar with Revolver?
No, I'm not, but I'm going to look that up after this phone call.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of you guys have given me various tips. Bongino Report, which I don't know. It's hard for me. Anyways,
I think Bongino's like the old Drudge. He just links to other conservative sites. I sometimes like to. I really like the Gateway Pundit. They do their own reporting, and they're they're hardcore conservative. Not, I don't want to say hardcore, but they're very conservative.
Right.
And they don't use because I don't want to say it because it's stupid, but language is powerful. And when we continuously
for deception. Yep.
Yeah, for deception. When we continuously use their deceptive language, like the protesters, they continuously say the protesters.
I know.
Seattle hasn't seen
the rioters.
Portland, they're rioters.
They're terrorists.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So sometimes it's like a subconscious type thing where And
by the way, I hear that Jim Hoft likes Jesse Lee Peterson. He's the founder of Gateway Pundit. He's been interviewed by Sean Hannity a lot. And that's cool. And I cite CNN because I get their morning headlines by email because some of the times they present some of the most ridiculous news that's fun to report on, The Skim, too, is a far-left female-oriented, female-run outlet that told me that May or April or whatever was Mental Health Awareness Month. So I just like to get stories like this from these people. I'm glad that you noticed that I try to present it in actually fair ways, which some people think is very biased, because I don't mind giving my commentary on their stuff. But I like to point out how they use she when it's a transgender male trying to pretend to be a woman and stuff like that. I point out when they use the term protesters or anti-abortion rather than pro-life and stuff like that. So, I'm for one, it's like it's a mix of stubbornness, habit, and the other thing is I just don't always see what you guys are talking about, especially with regard to Drudge. I don't see that he's betraying the country or betraying conservatism or Trump necessarily. I think he's just, when I read his headlines, I think of him as relaying what they're saying, which is relevant in the sense that, not that they're telling any kind of truth at all, but they're presenting stuff that's going to be talked about amongst the lay people who are not necessarily paying a whole lot of attention. So I try to just present what they're talking about so that we don't go into our own little world. Not that the conservative sites are in their own little world. I just don't know. So until I think it's going to happen naturally if I'm going to change my ways on that.
Well, apparently there's a book that's about to debut about the behind the scenes of the Drudge Report and the connection to Breitbart. I was just reading about it on one of the conservative sites today.
Okay.
So that may give us more insight into what really happened at Drudge. I think you were just talking about it earlier. The QAnon movement had made a Q drop that alluded to the fact that the Drudge had been sold to a foreign entity. So I think that's where a lot of people are saying it.
People are saying that.
So that's where that originated from, I think. But anyway, I do appreciate your explanation, and all I wanted to do was to voice my I don't want to call it frustration, but just I want people to realize that the left and their viewpoints and because they dominate the news gathering source,
right.
Unfortunately,
that
we can't accept their skewed sense of reality as truth.
Totally.
Using their protesters and
right.
continuously calling these people protesters are just being snatched
That's
up
a really good point. Yep.
Like that those federal agents arrested that guy, and that went from a viral video because he had assaulted a federal agent and then ran away.
What are you referring to? Which guy? Is that the Navy person? Who are you referring to?
These are the I believe it was in Portland where they were in camouflage. I think that they worked for DHS. They were on video, and they arrested an Antifa member, and they were just quiet. They didn't, and then they were in the unmarked minivan.
Okay.
And some like liberal women were screaming at them, saying, "Use your words, use your words," like challenging the officers, and they just stay quiet. And that's where this whole thing of now the left is overreacting, calling them Gestapo and.
No, they're accusing them of being what they are because these are the enemies. The Democrat Party is the enemy of America. They really are. Maybe there's some well-meaning people, right? Because there's hordes.
They're the enemy of good. They're the enemy of good.
Exactly. Appreciate it, Joe. Take care, man.
Thank you, James.
All right. I was about to say there's hordes of, for example, 96%, 98% in some cases of blacks voting for such and such Democrat candidate, Obama, or the Alabama senator, the Democrat one, Doug Jones. You have to imagine that amongst all those is a well-meaning person who's simply brainwashed, doesn't know better, And then every now and then, they'll snap out of it, like one or two. So, I forget what my point with that was. But, I was saying that the Democrats are the enemy of America. They are, especially the leadership, because the leadership has the information to know better. A lot of the blacks, they're not getting any truth. You hear, Tony, he's old enough to know better. He's just stubborn and angry, hates white people. And, some of the regulars, shout out to Do Right, Marcus Jones. I don't know, maybe Marcus Jones likes us, but he's just too weak to come out and admit it. Maybe. I think he likes us. I think he might actually even agree with us. But don't worry, your secret is safe with me, Marcus Jones. Let me quickly get to Frank in Georgia. He's been on hold for some time, wants to talk about the censorship amongst social media. Frank, what's up?
What's up, James? How you feeling, buddy?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm doing all right, buddy.
I've been walking every day for like an hour, sometimes a half hour, 45 minutes, almost every day. So, baby steps, right?
Yes, sir.
Who knew that I would get, I'm in the worst shape or pretty close to the worst shape of my life. I guess the worst shape is when I can't walk because of a beta back situation, but I think things are looking up. Maybe at the bottom of the trash barrel, but anyways.
You should be in your prime, brother.
Yeah, exactly. I should be. My uncle.
But look at here, man.
Yeah, go for it.
Ahead, go ahead. No, go on. Go ahead.
Oh, well, my uncle, he was in his late 30s or early 40s, and he was running, because my family are like runners, right? Distance runners.
Uh-huh.
He was running the fastest mile and 2 miles and 3 miles and 5Ks and whatever that he had ever run in his life, faster than high school and all that, in his 30s and 40s. And so that's cool. So I think there's still time for me to get back in shape. Can you turn up the caller volume? Asks Brandon M. Thank you. So that was
I believe you're on your way, though, James. I believe you're on your way, man.
Yeah.
But I was going to call you last week, man, real quick.
Stay close to your phone.
I already know.
Stay close to your phone, Frank.
I'm sure a lot of the guys in the chat and the gals in the chat already know this, but I find it kind of funny to where, look, guys, y'all are not going to change anyone's opinion on Facebook. Get off of Facebook. All you're going to do is lose your job. And it just, it blows my mind to where people are just raging on Facebook about stats and numbers. I'm like, look, everybody knows it. You know what I'm saying? And
right.
I'm seeing people losing their jobs over it, man. And a lot of the boomers, too, who got maybe like 5 to 10 years left, and they're raging on Facebook.
That's a good point.
And it's like, stop it. You're not going to change anyone's mind. Maybe find a different way to red pill. But we all know Facebook has one agenda, man. And if you go against the grain and you ruffle some feathers, if they're going to find you, they're going to dodge you. And these people got where they work at and everything else. I'm just like, man, please be quiet.
Right. Or just be sane and have a backup plan. Have your own thing going. But you're right. But you're right. People do need to protect themselves. And more than just the physical steps of protecting yourself, your job and stuff. And you're right. People don't really wake up from online spats for the most part, right?
Right.
But more than that, they need to, all of us need to awaken spiritually, so that's the best way to red pill others. Otherwise, you're not actually as red pilled and awake as you think. You know what I mean?
That's so right. And I know Facebook is not the way to go. Like, I get on there to look at some little things that I might like, that I'm into, hobbies and stuff like that. And then you got the boomers, and nothing against the boomers.
Yeah.
Then you got the boomers who were, so they were hippies and crap like that, who basically, I'm not going to say it was all on them, but now they're wanting to spat off and go crazy when really, man, they didn't stand up and stand for good when they were younger, and now we're in this situation to where now we got to pull together, man, and try to get this country back, man.
Right.
I don't know. It just blows my mind that people think that they're going to change someone's opinion on Facebook. It's crazy, man.
Right. Yeah. Or in chat or anywhere else. Somebody called in asking about, because he argues with people in chat, and he admits that he gets angry, and he admits that he doesn't do the silent prayer consistently. And so, yeah, you're right. That's true. People, and there's people that freak out. I freaked out when I realized like what damage and evil Obama was putting into the country. And, I wasn't into politics before that. And I kind of avoided it because I saw how ugly people got regarding politics. And then I started to get into it again because I was listening to Jesse Lee Peterson, but I wasn't living what he was talking about in the most important aspects. So I ended up losing more friends than I really needed to lose. And whatever, but it wasn't necessary.
No, that's so right, to where it's just like, I ain't got to tell you this, but it's just like a fine line in the sand to where it's either you're a so-called conservative, and just speaking of that and stuff, and I'll let you go and stuff, I asked a buddy of mine a while back, and maybe you can answer it for me. What have conservatives actually conserved in the last 40 to 50 years? So with us calling ourselves conservatives, we may be true conservatives at heart, but what is it, I don't think it does us any good. I'm not going to say it does any good, but when you call yourself a conservative and you're for the conservative party, what does that even mean? The only thing that they have going for them is they're trying to conserve is capitalism. But other than that, they have voted on everything, and they bend the knee every time.
That's true. Some of the most so-called exciting voices over the last decades amongst so-called conservatives have been the ones who are not Christians and are not for Christianity, and they're not for real manhood and they're for, this free market stuff, which is nice, but then they're also bringing in this globalist mess, and it's a mess. It's so bad that, and people are so out of touch. I saw this funny interchange between Tucker Carlson last night and Sean Hannity, and I like both of those guys, but Tucker is really on top of things right now.
I was telling you a while back, I know I sounded crazy, man, but he's the best thing we got going for president 2024, man.
I don't know about president. He, maybe, who knows? But he is the second most hated man in America, and I would argue maybe the third most important man in America. If we listen to Colin Flaherty being a guy that documents the rampant black violent crime.
I'm aware of it.
He calls Jesse Lee Peterson the most important man in America, and I honestly think that he's right, and he's serious about it when he says that, because he's talking about the solution, which is dropping the anger, and then we can overcome everything.
It's not like he has some type of stuff. It's not like he's some type of. He's not a guru or nothing like that stuff. He's just basically spatting off. It's pretty much common sense.
Yes.
And, too. So I'm sure that you're aware, but it's just so many people I listen to the show that wake up every day, and it's so many younger people that's waking up. So where I've been listening off and on 7 years, man. But you can see what I see, man. Heck, the fan base is growing, and I know that y'all are also being censored, but at the same time, there's a lot of people waking up due to the good work that y'all guys at Bond are doing, man. And like I said, James, always good talking to you, brother. And
thank you, Frank.
Back up, man. Put some Tiger Bomb on that guy, man, and get you jogging.
All right, Frank. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Take care.
All right, brother. Bye-bye.
Bye. Yeah, so Tucker Carlson, in my mind, he's like the third most important man in America and second most hated. President Trump is the most hated, and he's like the second most important man behind Jesse, in my mind, right? And then Tucker's the third. Anyways, whatever. Who knows? Maybe that's like worldly thinking. Evgeny Crosby 2020 says internet censorship is getting worse. YouTube, he goes on YouTube, many diamonds. Thank you, Evgeny, on DLive. YouTube used to be all about the little guy. Now it's in bed with the mainstream and celebrities. Blah! And he does throw up emojis, right? True. Really disgusting. Brandon M says, oh, you know what? I had completely missed those diamonds, Evgeny. But very appropriate timing. Dr. Phil T.S. says, just forgave my parents. It felt very nauseous and shaky. I know what you mean. Man, it's sometimes hard to spit out the words, right? Admitting you're wrong for resenting them, for hating them, for judging them. And aren't they so judgeable? You're not supposed to, but man. Boomers, huh? Well, in some cases, some of you guys have Gen X parents or even millennial parents, some of you. Dang. Liz Cheney is a rhino. Right on to the people. Wow, Lock Your Door gave me a nice meme. Right on to the so-called conservatives, but, who are since attacking her for being so-called disloyal to Trump. I got this from Drudge and Bloomberg, right? Representative Liz Cheney, who is, I think she's one of the daughters, she's the straight one of Dick Cheney, who is, I think he became pretty much a rhino. Maybe he was all along. He was the vice president to George W. Bush. But she's the highest ranking Republican woman in the House. And she is the third ranking Republican in the House. Isn't that disgusting? And she is a known rhino. There was a closed-door meeting, and it spilled out onto Twitter. And Donald Trump Jr., Don Jr. jumped in too, calling her out. Florida Representative Matt Gaetz, who, I don't trust him either, closely aligned himself with Trump, which I don't trust. These guys are sleazes. But he led the charge against Cheney. So just beware, because don't get pumped up. I'm sure none of you guys are falling for some of these people. They're not to be trusted. I hope that somebody gets a hold of Ted Yoho and tells them, that passion is not a positive thing. Man, my forehead's shiny. Jay on Facebook says the American people deserve a presidential debate. The media better not fix with those debates. You know, they're trying to fact check Trump. It's ridiculous. But anyways, getting back to this Liz Cheney thing, Don Jr. retweeted Matt Gaetz saying, "We already have one Mitt Romney. We don't need another," referring to how Mitt Romney backstabbed Trump. Mitt Romney is such a rhino. And he's Mormon, giving the Mormons a bad name. But a lot of the Mormons are not pro-Trump. It's like I don't know if they're like the boomers. They have this false guilt about racism because back in the olden days, they thought that blacks weren't like fallen angels or something like that. I don't know. I don't know exactly what the Mormons thought. No offense, Mormons. But they are, as Tucker's former top writer, the great Blake Neff. Shout out Blake Neff. Give us a call, or give us a call if you're a Zoomer. He said that it's an inherently cucky religion, meaning it betrays what's right. And this is what Christianity has become too. Not the real Christianity, but Christianity in the minds of so many blind people, where it betrays and cowers before evil, and then it acts all strong and tough against good men like Trump. Well, not that he's a good man, but decent men who are standing for what's right. Kevin McCarthy came to Cheney's defense. He's the GOP leader. He's a rhino. He's out of Bakersfield, California. Kevin McCarthy. But I mean, he aligns with Trump sometimes, but Cheney brushed aside questions about the conflict, saying freedom of speech is the right of all of us to have this kind of healthy debate and exchange. Be quiet, woman. Daughter of former Vice President Dick Cheney, and she breaks with the president on foreign policy, how he's handled the coronavirus. Oh, we're opening the treasure chest. And her backing of a primary challenger to Republican Representative Tom Massey of Kentucky. And she lost that one, I think. It's crazy. Jim Jordan of Ohio is heading the Freedom Caucus now because Mark Meadows is kind of out. He's in the Trump administration. The House Freedom Caucus, they're supposed to be conservatives, right? Cheney was supposedly a staunch defender of Trump during the impeachment, so right on for her. She votes in favor of his agenda, but she openly questioned whether Trump was aware of reports that Russians offered Afghan militants, and these are reports, right? They're unconfirmed, bounties to kill U.S. troops. And you know, you have fake people like Pete Buttigieg, the former Democrat mayor of South Bend, Indiana, acting like, oh, it's been 25 days and I'm still waiting for the president to address the Russians allegedly paying bounties to Afghanistan to kill Afghanistanis or whatever, to kill American troops. As if he cares about death. He supports abortion. He's a fake Christian. He's radical homosexual and a mess. He supports Black Lives Matter. So that tells you all you need to know. Anybody who supports Black Lives Matter supports blacks killing each other. In effect. In reality, right? So that's that. Biden wishes that that we taught more in our schools about the Islamic faith. Talk about a simp, right? What a shame. Let me shout out to the people who are very supportive on DLive in these difficult times in which I'm not allowed to accept super chats on YouTube. Jemmy or Gemmy, thank you, man. Evgeny Crosby, Shaggy Boy, Hot Computer Smell, Brandon M, Dr. Phil the Showers, Marie Maybe Golay, Immortal Firmament, Flo Shinsky, and Noah's Arkansas. Thank you, guys. And by the way, what Jesse Lee Peterson always says is stay with the prayer. So congratulations to Dr. Phil T.S. who forgave his parents, felt very nauseous and shaky. Don't be resting on your laurels, though. Right? And congratulations to Based AF America First guy. Very well-deserved 13.4 lemons. We redistribute the crumbs, right? With the Obama chest. And Blogert, which rhymes with yogurt. Dark Side of the Bear What? Master Daryl Wayne and Brandon M. for those things. But it's so ridiculous. And you know, Greta Thunberg is pushing her nonsense. Greta Thunberg is the Swedish, I think, 13 or 14-year-old who's pushing this climate change stuff. They're like, we don't need to be focusing on race. We don't need to be focusing on the family situation. We don't need to be focusing on the debt or getting stuff together, getting more morals back together. We need to focus on the planet. She's donating $1 million in prize money to climate change organizations, right? She said, that is more money than I can begin to imagine. And that's from the female-run outlet, The Skim. And they claim, without evidence, that the Earth says thank you. I seriously doubt that. But this Greta Thunberg, it reminds me, I saw your note, based female to me. I'm like, what? Greta is based female? But no, somebody reminds me, Cassandra Fairbanks of Gateway Pundit. She was a very prominent person on Twitter, former Bernie Sanders supporter, a single mother, supported Bernie Sanders and then woke up and realized, oh, Trump is what I really support. And she's a good reporter on the Gateway Pundit. I referenced her in this recent Twitter. Speaking of Twitter being so ridiculous, you know how Twitter got, we haven't really heard anything about it since then. Twitter got hacked. Oh man, I gotta go. Twitter got hacked and they're worried about QAnon. Meanwhile, their verified people are tweeting out scam stuff. It's ridiculous. Anyways, guys, I'll see you soon. Make sure you check out Bond Rebuilding the Man YouTube channel. The plan is to put out a Sunday service premiere at 4 p.m. my time today. That's the plan. Every Wednesday, 4 p.m. is the plan from here on out. So take care, guys. Rebuildingtheman.com/church for that stuff. We will be posting it later, as long as everything goes well. TheHakeReport.com for my stuff. JesseLeePeterson.com for Jesse's stuff. Thanks, guys. Take care.